If you go down to the woods today, you'll be met by red eyes. If you go down to the waste today, you'll find a tail that'll vaporize. For in the Vale, there's a new Rex, but what about Coral and Recess? Today is the day we answer that question. That's what we're gonna do. Why did I fucking do a Teddy Bear Song Picnic intro? Honestly! What is going to make its way to the Coral Highlands and the Elder's Recess, if indeed anything? Because the pertaining theory, the running thought, is we are getting a new Apex level monster, a challenger to the established order on each and every map. And on paper, that sounds good, right? And there is a lot to back it up, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, is it really going to be as clean as that? Is it really going to be as, well, easy as that? Let's talk about it. So we know that half the game's story is going to take place in the existing 5 maps. That is half the story. We also know that the environments, the stability of them, the makeup of them are changing in Iceborne. It's a mystery. There's something up in the new world. Creatures never before seen are found and rampaging. So, for certainty, we are getting new additions to each map. We already know, well, a decent chunk of them. And look, if half the story is indeed taking place, that's a lot of hunts, and yes, a lot of them will be Master Rank versions of existing monsters, but there's gotta be a good chunk of new going on, especially as we know there's gonna be the same amount of cutscenes in Iceborne, which means a lot of monster introduction cutscenes, which means a lot of monsters. So let's have a look at what we do know, what is happening. Ancient Forest, Nargacuga, he has sprung into action. I like to think he was hiding up in the trees this entire time, and he's not really had a reason to come down, but now he's going to grace us with his presence. Fantastic. That makes sense. He's not found anywhere else. He has an even fight with Rathalos. That ties itself up nicely in a bow. New Apex challenger. Then we move over to the Wildspire Waste, where we know we're getting Glavenus, who presumably will turf war to a draw with Diablos. There's the challenger, and the new, potentially, Apex in the environment. The issue is, Glavenus historically likes his volcanic regions too. He's a bit of a wanderer, so I would be very surprised if we don't see him and hunt him in the Elder's Recess. That kinda makes things a little bit shaky. Then we know, because we've seen the intro cutscene, or at least bits of it of Tigrex, you first encounter him in the Vale. And the Vale is not a very Tigrexy habitat. Now, he's a roaming predator, so he does and goes where he pleases.
And eat what I want!
Yep, I know, Tigrex.
Like you!
Okay, you got just thrown me from the... Oh my... Ah! Ah! Sometimes you have a regular normal day, and sometimes you get eaten by a Tigrex. You know, swings and roundabouts. So either way, he's appearing first in the Vale, so, you know, he has a turf war with Odo, and they draw a new Apex challenger there, boom! But again, as I said, he's a wanderer, and confirmed to be an invader of all of the territories, or at least most of them, and traditionally he is a snowy creature, also likes his desert, so we'll fight him in the Waste. We do fight him in Hoarfrost, of course we do. So that's not the most neatest little tidy thing in the world, is it? And then we have ourselves the other 2 maps, for which we don't know anything that's happening on them. Now, the popular 2, and the ones that I would definitely go for, are on the Coral Highlands, a bit of Zinogre action. And then on the Elder's Recess, we get Brachydios, who is, of course, the best monster out of literally all of them. And look, I know everyone has their favourite monsters, and you might not agree Brachydios is best, and that's fine, alright? Everyone has a right to be wrong. So, that would be beautiful for him. He would only live, really, in the Recess, and we would finally have a non-Elder Dragon true Apex there, which is something I feel like it kinda needs, because there's Uragan and Levisioff, and they're kinda fine, but neither of them really screams Apex at you.
Apex!
Levisioff, stop. you're never going to be relevant. I'm so sorry. So we would have finally a ruler there, and that would work out really nicely. And also, you know, going with the flagship theory, we are like to get him, and based on the ones that they are adding, the next two most likely are Zinogre and Brachydios. They most fit, they most slot just succinctly into world, but then again, Glavenus is crazy, he's got a heat tail, so we really could get any of them, but I feel like Brachydios in the recess is a slam dunk. I feel like that just needs to happen, and I know I'm incredibly biased towards him, but that just works there, and it really tidies up that environment. Zinogre on the Coral Highlands, however, and as much as I would like to see Zinogre, and as much as I've said I feel like he's a bit over-designed, and he has so much fur and spikes and scales and horns and gin spikes. Who needs gin spikes? He is a really fun fight, and he's a really interesting creature, and I could see thunderbugs start to make their way to the Coral Highlands. That's the environmental change there. We've shaken up a hive of them, and Zinogre has followed suit, and now he's wandering around, and his electric beauty would play wonderfully against that backdrop, but he's not really a Coral Highlandsy monster. He likes the forest. He hunts, well, more towards Aptonoth than he's going to be chasing down Shamos. I feel like he just doesn't quite fit the Coral Highlands, and yes, you could have him appear there. He has appeared in different environments, he does wander, so he could have a go in the forest and fight Nargacuga, but you know, the first encounter might be in the Coral Highlands. And that's the thing. Maybe Nargacuga is actually the exception here. Maybe he is. The others that we know of, Tigrex, Glavenus, and, well, a potential Brachydios, a potential Zinogre, they do rove around. They inhabit multiple maps. Hell, even Brachydios has been known to go to snowy locations. He's gone to wooded locations. He has gone, obviously, to tornadoes. To tornadoes? He's gone to tornadoes! So he could appear everywhere. What if that is the theme of what's happening in the new world that we know of, the 5 main base maps? What if we have ourselves a series of monsters that are all powerful apexes, they're all roving around and they're causing chaos, disrupting the natural ecosystem, and actually making themselves a, well, nuisance. I say that like they're just, you know, picking a flower that they shouldn't pick because it doesn't belong to them. They're murdering everything in sight. What if there is this sudden armada of legendary flagships with all of their powerful shenanigans, and they are just moving around all the maps, and they are, well, causing havoc and needing to be put down? That would be a nice way to shake things up, and I feel like that would do better than just, we've put Nargacuga in the forest, and we've put Glavenus in the waste, and we've put Tigrex in the vale, and Zinogre in the coral, and then Brachydios in the recess. Have fun. And while that would be fun, do not get me wrong, I see them bringing back all these flagships. The flagship theory is holding true, and what better way to really give them their spotlight than to let them run free, go everywhere, actually give them a little bit of a visit to multiple zones. Now, Nargacuga is the only one that's not really been found in anything that isn't ancient foresty. At a stretch, you could give him to the desert and put him in the forested area, so that's where you get the multiple maps from him. But everyone else is so multi-mappal. That's a word I just coined, and I think that would be an excellent way to do it. And if we do get the others, Tigrex, he's an invader, he goes everywhere. Gormagala, he can go everywhere. And I think that would be a really fun plot point. And they did hint that there is something major happening with the ecosystem that needs fixing in an interview they did recently. So that is kind of exciting to think about. The real question then is, what is the more likely monster for the Coral Highlands? Because I really don't think it will be Zinogre. I'm almost convinced it will be a flagship. I think every major headliner monster in the existing maps will be a flagship. That just kind of makes sense, especially with what's already being shown. The real question is, though, which one? And out of what's left, Zinogre, Gormagala, Legiacris, Seregios? Out of those, I mean, it's got to be Zinogre, doesn't it? Because Brachy, again, he definitely will recess. I don't think we'll see Valstrax, though with Glavenus we very much could. But again, he's an everywhere. Zinogre is the one. So it's hard to think of another one that isn't something like Mizutsune, but even then Mizutsune likes streams, it likes water, it likes to catch fish, which isn't the most Coral Highlandy still. There's not a really just, well, that one, that's the one that's happening to put into the fray here. So I guess to summarize what I want to talk about is, given the theme that we're going, we should get a headliner monster for every map. But I don't think it will be as simple as, here, this on this map, this is going to compete with the Apex, that's done, plunked on, there we go. I think there's going to be something more to this. I think we're going to get deliberately multi-map monsters, I think they're going to rove around, and I think we'll have quite a crisis situation that will tie into the story, which is borne out from various little hints that we have had dropped. And that is a really awesome way to reinvigorate the maps that we know in a big way by giving these legends of Monster Hunter free reign upon them. That, and I just really want Brachydios. So what do you guys think? Do you think there is merit to the new Apex Challenger flagship per map theory, or do you think it's going to be a little bit deeper than that? I think it's going to be a little bit more. I realize it's mostly just me rambling and wouldn't this be cool, but then again, I can't deny those are just so much fun to make. They simply are. I just adore waxing lyrical about this game and what could be. Let me know your thoughts, like if you enjoyed this, subscribe for more, hit the bell, and I will see you soon. A good boy.
Rage Gaming with the video float.
But that's all that's really relevant at the mo, but I'm still gonna leave this up so you patrons know that I love you even though the outro's no longer that kinda relevant. But the new one's being worked on and it's gonna be a truly badass song, and don't worry, I won't be doing any rapping on it. I'm gonna go now. This was shit.